Okay, what's up?
So, we're going to go through my Meren deck today for Magic the Gathering Commander. Meren is one of my favourite commanders ever. So, I'll go through its effects. Well, I'll go through its stats first. So, Meren of Clan Toth. It is 2, a black and a green. Legendary creature, Human Shaman. Whenever another creature I control dies, I get an experience counter. At the beginning of my end step, choose target creature in my graveyard. If that card's converted mana cost is less than or equal to the number of experience counters I have, return it to the battlefield, otherwise put it into my hand. So it's a really good reanimation engine. I super love the efficiency of this deck, because a lot of the creatures are 1 cost, 2 cost, 3 cost, and just the heavy hitters are high mana. So I'll put this over here. You guys can still see it. So, first off, I'll go through the lands. So, first I'll go through the obvious one, which is Command Tower. Command Tower is one of the best commander lands, but nothing really much to say. It taps to add a mana of any colour in my commander's colour identity, so I'll just put this off to the side here. Fabled Passage. So, this came in Throne of Eldraine. Sacrifice Fabled Passage, search my library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle my library. Then, if I control 4 or more lands, I untap that land. Really good. It's a fetch land that searches for any basic in the deck. I really love it, for that matter. So, now I did spend a bit of money on this deck, so I have Marsh Flats, Polluted Delta, Misty Rainforest, Bloodstained Mire, Wooded Foothills. I only have those 5 fetch lands, but I do plan on getting the rest of the ones that I can use in this deck. But they are just a little bit out of price range at the moment. So, they all have similar effects depending on which colour they are. I'll go through the Wooded Foothills for the example. So, tap, pay 1 life, sacrifice Wooded Foothills, search my library for a mountain or forest card, and put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle my library. It's super good. It searches out my shock lands, which is so good. Well, my only shock land, to be honest. Okay, and then similarly, Bloodstained Mire searches for a swamp or mountain, Misty Rainforest, forest or island, Polluted Delta, island or swamp, and Marsh Flats, plains or swamp. So this deck does have a heavy black influence, so I really like it for that. So I'll go through my dual lands. So, dual lands I run the obvious Shockland, so it's Overgrown Tomb. As Overgrown Tomb comes into play, I may pay 2 life. If you don't, Overgrown Tomb comes into play tapped instead. I also play Nurturing Peatland. Tap, pay a life, add a black or green, or 1 and tap, sacrifice Nurturing Peatland and draw a card. It's a really good land. I use it a lot with more cards that I've got in the deck, which synergize rather well with it. I run the check land, so it enters the battlefield tapped unless I control a swamp or forest, and it taps for a black or green. It's really nice. Tainted Wood. It taps for a colourless mana, or it taps for a black or green, and I can only use that effect if I control a swamp. Next is Llanowar Wastes. Taps for a colourless, or taps for a black or green, and deals 1 damage to me. So it's just colour fixing for when I need it. Temple of Malady. It's Malady, but we all say Malady, because we're all fancy gentlemen like that. Temple of Malady enters the battlefield tapped. When Temple of Malady enters the battlefield when Temple of Malady enters the battlefield, scry 1, tap, add a black or green to my mana pool. So those are the dual lands. I run those because I really like them. They're vastly good. So I'll go on to my basics. I will explain my choice of basic. So I run 9 basic swamps. So I did choose the Theros swamps because A, I like them, and B, because this deck has a nice theme about the energy of a creature being reborn and so on and so forth. So I really like the idea that they go into the universe and come back out of the constellations that are part of those lands. Next, forests. I run 8 forests. I run more swamps because I run a lot more black creatures in the deck. But forests, really good because I run a lot of 1-mana green creatures, so I really want to hit at least a green source on turn 1. That allows me to ramp. So, next, Field of Ruin. Really good land removal, say if somebody else has Cabal Coffers, I can pop it, because I don't like Cabal Coffers on my opponent's side of the field. Bojuka Bog. Grave Hate, super good land, it enters the battlefield tapped, exile all cards from target player's graveyard, and taps for black mana. Phyrexian Tower, so it adds a colourless or tap, sacrifice creature, add 2 black. So gets off my Meren trigger to get more experience counters and really good ramp. Next, Urborg. All lands are swamps. Yes. Really good because I really enjoy how this synergizes well with Cabal Coffers. Yes, I did mention Cabal Coffers earlier because I do have one. So it's 2, tap, add black mana for each swamp I control. These two synergize really well because I run quite a few land grabs in this deck. Okay, next I will go through ramp. Okay, so first I'll go through the 1-mana mana dorks. So, Deathrite Shaman, Elvish Mystic, Finthorn Elves, Llanowar Elves, Elves of Deep Shadow, and Birds of Paradise. So these are the 6 1-drop mana dorks I run. Deathrite Shaman because I run quite a few fetch lands, so I'm basically guaranteed to get this off pretty much most of the time when I need it. And then I run Elves and a bird. The bird, I would prefer the Summon Mana Birds version, but I don't have that one, so it's got to be that. Next, I'll go through the 2-mana ramp cards. So, Priest of Titania, I run a lot of Elves. And Sakura Tribe Elder, also known as Stee, or Steven, as we like to say. I sacrifice it, search for a basic land, put the card into play, and I can recur it with Meren really easily. Next, I'll go through the 3-mana. There's more 3-mana than 2-mana. So, Pawn and Bullmog. I put this in the ramp section because it does ramp me more than anything. So when itself or another non-token creature dies, I may create a 0/1 colourless Eldrazi Spawn creature token. It has sacrificed this creature, add colourless to my mana pool. Next, Wood Elves. Goes to find a forest, puts it into play. Simple as. Really good. Growing Rites of Itlimoc. I generally will have a board of at least 4 creatures in this deck, so Growing Rites really gets that off with its flip side. I'll show you that and how pretty that is. I love the artwork on this card. So it taps for a green or taps for a green for each creature I control. So it works really well when I run all of those tiny, tiny elves. Next, Ramunap Excavator. I run enough lands to get that off most time. So, and it also synergizes quite well with my lands that sacrifice to destroy something, or so on and so forth. Next, Dryad of the Recent Grove. Mana fixing and extra lands. Super good card. I'm so glad I actually got one in time. Next, I'll go through my last ramp card that I put in the ramp section. Pitiless Plunderer. Whenever another creature I control dies, create a colourless treasure artifact creature token. So it is mana fixing on a stick. Super good. And it's also a 1/4, so it's really good defense. And treasure, if you don't know, tap, sack, add 1 mana of any colour to my mana pool. Next, I will go through draw cards. So, I will explain why I put these in the draw section. So, we run Skullclamp because I run lots of 1 toughness creatures. And it's just 1 mana draw 2 in most cases, because I don't technically lose a lot of creatures in this deck. Dusk Legion Zealot. It's good ETB. I would prefer it to be something else, but budget, and I really like the artwork on this guy. Sylvan Library. Sylvan Library is super good. So it sets up your next... basically just get to look at 3 cards, put one of them into your hand, put the other 2 back on top. If you don't want to take, but if you don't want to take damage, you just put them back. If you don't mind taking a bit of damage, you can just say, fuck it, I'm taking 8, get those 2 land out of the way, or those 2 cards I don't want to see out of the way, and then be able to do something. And it also allows me to Misty Rainforest stuff away, because really good. Fetches, shuffling away what you don't want to see. Dread Presence. So usually I go for the draw card and lose life whenever I play Swamp. So I really like Dread Presence. Deals 2 damage to any target and gains 2 life for the other effect. Do that sometimes to get rid of problematic things, but nothing otherwise. Smothering Abomination. At the beginning of my upkeep, sacrifice a creature, and whenever I sacrifice a creature, draw a card. Super good because I sacrifice a lot in this deck. Underrealm Lich. Whenever I would draw a card, instead look at the top 3 cards of my library, then put one of them into my hand and the rest into my graveyard. And pay 4 life, it gains indestructible, and tap it. It's so good. Really good defender. Oh, you attack me with an 8/8, it doesn't have trample, just block, pay 4 life. There you go. I got absorbed. Just move these over 1 second. Next in my lineup is Gitrog. Gitrog is a pet card in this deck. I love this card so much because it just works. This is my favourite Golgari commander, but I understand its power. That's why it's in the 99 and not in the command zone. Izoni, Thousand-Eyed. Undergrowth. When it enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 black and green insect creature token for each creature card in my graveyard. I run a lot of creatures, if you couldn't tell. And it's got black and green, sacrifice another creature, gain 1 life and draw a card. I do use that effect quite often, because it can save me in a pinch. Next, I will go through searches. So I run Entomb. Searches a card into the graveyard from the deck. Really good. Elvish Reclaimer. It searches up my Cabalcoffer Zerborg. No other reason about it. And it's really good because it becomes a 3/4 when I have 3 or more land cards in the graveyard. Next, Diabolic Intent. It's not an additional cost, guys. It's just a sack a creature, which fuels my plays. I love the card. Next, obviously, Demonic Tutor. Demonic Tutor I prefer would be Black Border, but I can't afford that. But I do like this artwork. Next, Pattern of Rebirth. I shove it onto a 1/1 creature, sacrifice it, search for a 7-drop creature. As if that's fair. Next, my 7-drop creature, Protean Hulk. Yes, I do run Protean Hulk in this deck, because I can either choose to value play it, or I can just win the game with it. Preferably, I just choose to value play most of the time, but if the game's just going on too long, I will just Pro Hulk to win. Okay, next, board wipes of descriptions. I run only 2. I run Bane of Progress and Living Death. So, Living Death, it gets around indestructible. Somebody's got an indestructible board, bye-bye. I'm gonna just swap that with whatever's in your graveyard. And Bane of Progress, we run, and there's a lot of artifacts and enchantments that I just don't want people having, so Bane of Progress is stupid good. Next, removal. And I'm on about targeted removal or specific types of removal. So we run Caustic Caterpillar. It removes those pesky artifacts and enchantments. It's a 3 mana each time for the first time, and then 2 mana for every other time because Meren's a thing. Next, Maelstrom Pulse. Maelstrom Pulse is super good. Mine is in foreign. I can't remember which language this is, but it reads, destroy target non-land permanent and all other non-land permanents with the same name as it. Destroy a token. Bye-bye all tokens with the same name. Nuff said. It's a board wipe for token. Next, Playcrafter, Merciless Executioner. Basically the same thing, just Playcrafter is objectively better. Whenever Playcrafter enters the battlefield, each player sacrifices a creature or planeswalker. Each player who can't discards a card. And Merciless Executioner. When Merciless Executioner enters the battlefield, each player sacrifices a creature. So Playcrafter is strictly better. I just wish it had 1 toughness, so I could clamp it away, but that's about it. Next, Murderous Rider. So I chose Murderous Rider for this spot because destroy target creature or planeswalker, lose 2 life. Instant speed is super good. And then I can just put it back in the deck when I cast it and then sack it. It's super good. I got this idea from my mate Kieran. Super good guy. He will always advise me on when I'm building decks, such as this one. He has a Meren deck, and it's so much better than mine. Trust me, it's so much better. Next is Reclamation Sage. So, artifacts and enchantment removal again. I just don't like those artifacts and enchantments. Thrashing Brontodon. Same thing as Cost of Caterpillar, just a 3 mana casting cost and a 1 mana activated ability. Faceless Butcher. Once again, I don't like Indestructible, so I will get rid of that Indestructible with this guy. And also, this has a very neat interaction, so when it comes into play, remove target creature other than Faceless Butcher from the game, so exile target creature, and then when it leaves play, return its play under its owner's control. So, the way this works is when the first trigger happens, I can sacrifice it to something else. So the second, when it leaves the battlefield trigger happens, it won't have exiled it yet, so it'll just exile it straight up. It's so good, isn't it? Next is the obvious Acidic Slime. Acidic Slime is really good because it destroys land, artifacts, and enchantments, and it's got Death Touch. Next, Sack Outlets. Oh boy, I run a number. So, Carrion Feeder, Visceraseer, Altar of Dementia, Spawning Pit, Ashnod's Altar, Phyrexian Altar, and Yawgmoth. So, don't really need to explain Carrion Feeder or Visceraseer, everyone's seen these. Altar of Dementia, sacrifice creature, target player puts a number of cards from his library to the graveyard equals the sacrifice creature's power. Yep. Spawning Pit, sacrifice a creature, put a charge counter on Spawning Pit. 1 mana, remove 2, create a 2/2. So it keeps stuff rolling, which is really good. Ashnod's Altar, sacrifice creature, add 2 colorless mana. Phyrexian Altar, sacrifice creature, add a mana of any color. And Yawgmoth, protection from humans. Pay 1 life, sacrifice another creature, put a -1/-1 counter up to 1 target creature, and draw a card. Yeah, I've done that stupid amount of times. Also, I'll show you a combo later that it's just dumb. And it's also got 2 black, discard a card, proliferate. I don't really use that effect much, but it's super good. So, next I'll go to Reanimation. Reanimation and grabbing stuff back out of the bin, I'll say. So, Reanimate, put target creature from the graveyard onto the battlefield under my control. I lose life equals that card's convert mana cost. Really good. Animate Dead. It's the same thing, but it's an enchantment and it stays on it. Reduces its power by 1, but I don't care. Rift Sweeper. Oh, you exiled my thing? I'll shuffle it back in. But next, Necromancy. It's the same as Animate Dead, but can be done at instant speed, but it's 3 mana. Victimize. So there's a loop that can happen with this that I'll show later. It's dumb. Eternal Witness. Eternal Witness grabs any card back. So I can grab my Reanimate, Animate Dead, Necromancy, Victimize back. Stupid good. Next, we will go with Phyrexian Delver. It's the same as Reanimate, just on an ETB on a creature. And it only grabs my creatures, but I don't care. Next, Dread Return. Turn target creature card from my graveyard to the battlefield and sacrifice 3 creatures to cast it again. I can do 2 for the price of 1 with most of the time. I love this deck so much. Right, now we're just going to go into the good stuff section. So, Spore Frog. Protects me, and I really love it. It's so good. I love Spore Frog. Next, I'll go with my 2 Aristocrats. So, Zulaput, Cutthroat, and Blood Artist. Next, I'll go with my big payoffs in this deck. So, Arasta, I can search this for against when people are casting heavy instants and sorceries decks. I create more tokens, more stuff to get rid of. Bramble Sovereign. What's that? Reanimate Proto Hulk. Pay 2 mana, get another one. Oh yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, definitely. Endrek Sar. 1/1s. Lots and lots of 1/1s. This card is underrated. Next, Gary. Grey Merchant of Asphodel. When Grey Merchant of Asphodel enters the battlefield, each opponent loses X life, where X is my devotion to black, and I gain life equal to the life lost this way. This card is stupid. Why was it printed at common? God knows. Next, Wormcoil Engine. So, Wormcoil Engine, another pet card. I just love the card. Its tokens are beautiful, and it is just beautiful. Grave Titan is just stupid good. I love this card so much that every black deck I've ever made, this card was in it. And lastly, Mikaeus. Enough said. Well, not enough said, but I'll take you through its effects. Intimidate. Whenever a human deals combat damage to me, other non-human creatures Okay, I'll go through that again. Whenever a human deals damage to me, destroy it. Other non-human creatures I control get +1/+1 and have Undying. So, that concludes the deck. I'll now go through the key combos that I actually do in the deck. So, as I said, I'm going through the combos now. So, say you've got this board. Mikaeus, Grave Titan, Yawgmoth. This can be substituted for any card. Really doesn't matter. It could be, I don't know, an elf. Any card as long as it's not human. So, you have this board. You play Gary. So, Gary's trigger happens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So, 9 trigger, everyone else loses 9 life. I gain 27, so if it's a 4-player game. Fairly large amount of life. So, I sacrifice Yawgmoth. I sacrifice Gary to Yawgmoth, targeting this for a -1/-1 counter. Targeting this for a -1/-1 counter, sorry. Okay, then the Undying trigger happens, so this is still floating. This comes back with a +1/+1 counter. Then Gary triggers again for 9. So again, another 27, drawing everyone. For now, a total of 18 each. This now gets its counter. I can then sacrifice Grave Titan to Yawgmoth. Undying trigger of Mikaeus. This comes back. I give this the -1/-1 counter from Yawgmoth. These counters will now disappear because of the game rules. I can now sacrifice... This has a +1/+1 counter because of Undying. I can now sacrifice this, give this a -1/-1 counter. Those go away, this comes back in. Now I've drained everyone for a total of 36, because this has entered 4 times. This comes in with the counter. I then sacrifice Grave Titan, give the -1/-1 counter to Gary. This comes back in. This sacrifice away, give this the counter, keep going. I can keep going as long as I have cards in deck, because this draws a card every time. And now for the next combo. So, next combo, you are required to have Ashnod's Altar, Phyrexian Altar, a Blood Artist on board, and these in the bin. So, Eternal Witness, Phyrexian Delver, and Victimize in the graveyard. Move those out of the way, I don't need them. So, actually no, Victimize in hand. Victimize in hand. God damn it. Okay, so, you cast Victimize. Sacrificing this away to bring these. These hit the grave. This trigger, drain everyone for 1. Eternal Witness trigger, bring back Victimize. Phyrexian Delver trigger, bring back Blood Artist. So, now I can go sacrifice for 2 mana, sacrifice for a black, cast this again. Same way, but every time I'm gaining 3 and losing 2 thanks to Delver and Blood Artist. And that concludes that combo. I can do that with any amount of creatures as long as I have a way to gain life somewhere in the mix.